Hi everyone, JP here with Autistic with a Chance of Weather. Today I was supposed to do a different episode which I mentioned last week about going to the Disney Museum in San Francisco. However, due to the events that happened this past weekend in the southern United States, where tornadoes killed at least 100 people and caused a lot of damage, I decided to, instead of doing the talk about the Disney Museum, to talk about why these tornadoes happened and what were the conditions that favored the tornado genesis, as well as how you can be prepared for the next tornadoes. Alright everyone, so to start things off, I want to show you the temperature at the surface to get things started about why there was a tornado outbreak across the south. This is 12 o'clock Zulu time on December 10th, or for those on the east coast of the US, 7 a.m. And as we step forward every 3 hours, we can see that it's getting warmer each time until we see a bit of a peak right here. That's the area you gotta keep an eye on for the severe weather. And as you see, it's getting turned into it becomes more sharp as time goes by. Into at the same time, there's a colder air pushing in from Nebraska and Kansas. That is a cold front which is trapping the warm moisture from the Gulf, causing thunderstorms, and that is just the first ingredient that is needed for tornadoes is strong thunderstorms. Switching over to the what we call precipitable water, there is a lot of moisture available in the area where the tornadoes happen, which is right around here. And you can see it moving as part of the cold front that's coming through the area. That is also supportive of the tornado environment. Looking at the convective available potential energy, or the buoyancy, or as we meteorologists call it, CAPE, there's quite a bit of CAPE around that time of the tornado outbreak through the Mississippi and Missouri valleys. However, not a whole lot as compared to over the Gulf of Mexico. But what really drove the tornado genesis was the winds, and we are now looking at the 850 millibar and 500 millibar wind bobs, with the red being the 500 and the light blue 850. As we progress through time, we see that the red arrows is starting to shift into this area to the right of the light blue, which means the wind is backing, which is supportive of tornado activities. So the veering wind is a key component in tornado genesis, as I discussed in a previous episode of my video blog on tornadoes. So it's definitely a big wind shear event, both direction-wise, and also let's take a look at the wind speed at 200 millibars during this time period. We can see through here that during the strongest winds in the area happens to be right at exactly at the time of the tornado outbreak, is when the jet stream is over the same area. So the combination of the moist air and the wind shifting and the very strong winds over the area, it signals that it definitely was the right ingredients for the tornado genesis. So it was more of a wind-driven tornado event because of the wind chill, both directional and speed-wise, rather than the cape and moisture. And that's why the conditions were right for the tornadoes in the southern United States. Now, here are a few things to remind you if you live in areas where there are tornadoes. 1. You should keep an emergency kit with extra food, water, batteries, and other supplies like medicine, because as you can tell, tornadoes will damage everything, so you might not have access to getting fresh supplies for days. So it is good to have emergency supplies on hand. Another thing is to pay attention if the meteorologist interrupts your program, as they are doing it for your own safety and not because they're egoistic or selfish, but rather they want to make sure that you are safe. So next time they interrupt your show, keep in mind that they want to keep you safe, because they're trying to give you the advance notice so you don't have to be like, you never told us. The last thing I want to remind you is, if a tornado does happen, the safest place isn't the lowest floor in the innermost room of the house or apartment or wherever you are inside. Next week, I will try to do the Disney Museum episode, but I'll have to make sure there's no more weather activities for within the next few days to talk about. So until then, I'll see you on Artistic with a Chance of Weather.